The Drug Alternative Program presents Drugs Close to Home. Your weekly insight into the ongoing stories of struggle, victory, and the spiritual renewal of rehabilitation. Each week, Cliff and Freddie Harris, co-founders of the Drug Alternative Program, would like to introduce you to the many people who have touched their lives through their spirit-filled ministry. But most of all, they would like to share with you the blessings they continue to receive from Jesus Christ. And now, your hosts of Drugs Close to Home, Cliff and Freddie Harris.
Welcome to Drugs Close to Home, a program about the destruction that drugs causes our families.
And the power of Jesus Christ that heals them. We believe every life is worth saving.
Freddie, that is so true, because every changed life is a miracle from God.
Amen. Honey, you
Yes.
gave me something this week. One red rose.
Yes.
Just because.
I love you. That's why, just because.
Thank you. You know, one red rose is the trademark of our marriage, and it's also a part of our logo. So when he gives me one red rose, it's very special.
And you know what's so important, you guys? I don't have to buy her a dozen of roses. All I have to do is just buy one. Because if I bring more than one, she's not too happy with that. She wants that just one red rose.
Right. You know, we both have 3 children each. I have 3, Sherry, Tony, and London. And you have 3.
What's my children's name? Well, I have Jeffrey, Rhonda, and Stephen.
And you know, we've never had any of our children on our program, but today we have our son, Tony Farmer. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yes.
It's a blessing.
You know, I call him my tall giant. How tall are you, Tony?
6'10".
6'10", you know, and tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I mean, obviously I'm born and raised in California. Was born in 1970, 45 years young today. And just looking forward every day of just transitioning every day to be a giant of God, trying to make my life better, trying to get things in order every single day of the week. And one thing that I've loved is to see how the growth of this ministry. I remember back in 1985 when you and Dad met, I was a rebellious 15-year-old and saying, there's no way that this guy's...
How do we remember?
I was like, there's no way that this guy is going to be able to come in here and take care of our house. And I remember, Mom, you had promised us not until we leave high school that you weren't going to do anything.
I did. You know, I promised my kids, I said, I'm not going to get married until you guys finish high school. But, you know, God had a different plan for us. It was not my plan to meet Cliff Harris, but he did. But, Tony, I don't know if you remember, you know, when I met Cliff that Saturday night, after I met him, we were driving home. And I told you guys, and I know how protective my children are of me, but we were driving home. And I told you, I said, hey, you guys, I said, someone at church is interested in me. And Tony, you said, who, Mommy? I said, Jeffrey Harris's father. And you said, Mommy, if it's any man I want you to marry, it's him. And I knew that was the Holy Spirit. You probably don't remember that, Tony, but that was profound for you to say, hey, this is a guy that I think you should marry.
Yes, I do remember. And I remember the first time that Dad took me to work with him. We was in his Mustang, and we had a roasted chicken. He showed me how to do the bricks and everything, so he just took a vested interest. And I remember we got that first station wagon. He let me drive to choir practice by myself.
Right.
So I was like, he's definitely, you know, a man of trust. And then you look at how the ministry is formulated today and all these guys and how they change lives. So you're right, you just never know what God's plan, because a lot of time we feel like our plan is the best plan, but his plan is obvious, the eternal plan. So you can see that, you know, having his hand in everything on a daily basis of one's life helps things transition better.
But you know what, Tony, I always wanted, even when I was doing my drugs, I wanted to help somebody not go through life what I went through. And so that's when I always had that passion to help somebody that was in my situation. And so, you know, for that to come into play, it was a transition that we made in that period of time.
And you know, we as parents, we feel sometimes that we put our children on the back, you know, for the ministry. You know, we get so busy, so involved in our ministry. So how have you felt through the years, you know, as we've done the ministry? How have you felt as far as being our child, you know, and we having a ministry like we have?
That takes up all our
Takes up
time.
all of our time.
I mean, Mom and Dad, I never really took it personal because I can relate, you know, my basketball career, not being home for my kids, not being there when London and Tasia was born, and knowing that, you know, there's things that we feel like we're required to do, and you feel if you take your foot off the gas, you're not going to be able to help the guys, or I feel like if I take my foot off the gas, I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. So, you know, the fact for me personally, the fact that it happened when I was a little bit older, helped me really understand more. Maybe if I was a little bit younger, I'd have been a little bit more rebellious because I would have felt like the needs that I needed to have met as a child weren't met. But as you become a young adult, I always ask myself, how can, you know, what can I do to help, or what can I do to be more involved? And, you know, it's easy for me to look at things because I've never had a substance abuse problem. I never had an alcohol problem. So when you look at as a child, I never took it personal because I know this is a full-time, it's actually a lifestyle. It's not even a job, it's a lifestyle.
Amen.
And you know, when you say that you never drank or smoked or anything, and you have been in the NBA, and for you to be in the NBA and not drink or not smoke, you know, I really admire you for that, because that's a miracle.
Yeah, and for me, it's always been a personal choice. I'm not one that's easily influenced in life, period. So the thing that I realized is I wanted to be in control of my destiny, you know, meaning that I didn't want to get that DUI. I didn't want to, you know, be busted for drugs, because, you know, those are lifelong scars that, you know, there's things that a person has to deal with for the rest of their lives. With the fact that you and Dad have transitioned this to a lifestyle, it's kind of, I have a chance to live vicariously through you guys, because you see the situations that these guys go through. They go in, come out, go in and come out. And, you know, I've seen a lot of things happen over, you know, a 20-year period, and I'm thankful that I'm actually like closer out here. I can see more. But, you know, one thing, you look at an addict, you can be addicted to sugar, you can be addicted to drugs.
Wait just a minute, Tony. You shouldn't have said that sugar part, you know, because that's something that especially addicts really are addicted to, because we love to take and eat that sugar.
Right.
And most guys that come in here, they go from drugs to sugar.
Correct.
You know, we have a vegetarian diet. You know, they don't get sugar every day. We try to give them healthy food, and, you know, so they can get away from, you know, the sugar, because sugar is a poison. It's an addiction.
Yes.
Correct.
Tony, tell us a little bit about you in the NBA. Tell us some of the teams you've played for, and what was your life like, you know?
I started off with the Lakers my first year, and then I went to Europe, and then I came back and played with Miami, Charlotte, Golden State, and Cleveland. And people always ask me what has been the best team that I've played for. And for me, it's been three different situations. The best coach I've ever learned from has been Pat Riley, because he's so much of a disciplinarian. He uses the same colored pens, wears the same kind of suits, says the same, you know, different speeches. And I learned a lot from that, of just how to be a professional. You know, he taught me a lot how to be a professional. Then, you know, I get to a team like Charlotte, where I became closer to some players that, you know, are on that team. And then go to Golden State and was here in California, so you guys have a chance to see more. But the thing that, you know, people don't realize, what happens on TV is about 45% of what happens in the lifestyle. You know, the behind the scenes.
In other words, behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes is just like this program. It's nowhere near what people think it is, because you'll have a team, you know, tell you, hey, we're trying to trade you. You know, we're not sure what we're going to do with you. You know, you see a lot of athletes, they just go back and forth with their own issues, and they bring those issues to practice, they bring those issues to the game. So the fraternity itself, you know, you're going to be on a team where you might have 10 to 12 different personalities. So, you know, that's why I've never really wanted to coach per se as much, because I just didn't feel like I have that desire to do that. You know, I more had a desire to be a business person. But, you know, professional sports is a tough grind. Yeah. You're required to be a professional year-round. And because I never got involved with drugs and alcohol, it was easy for me to speak on that to kids. And, you know, and you see people players and coaches who might have those issues, and it's kind of a fine line for them to talk, because they're battling things themselves internally.
Well, do you have a sense of security, that, you know, it's like a job, I have job security? Do you feel that, or you feel insecure because you might be traded anytime, you might be,
Sure.
you know, cut from the team anytime?
I think it's a sign of insecurity, just because of the fact that, you know, you feel so proud that you're one of the 1 or 2 or 3% that actually make it to the league. But the fact that you have to wake up all the time, that you might have to catch a flight, you know, your lifestyle being unstable, you can think that a team loves you, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're gone. So, I mean, the fact that I played for as long as I can, I mean, I've had some great experiences, but, you know, at the end of the day, not playing and doing that grind every day, it really gives you a chance to kind of rediscover yourself again. Because, you know, when you're playing, you get so caught up in the play, you get so caught up in the crowd, you get so caught up in the lifestyle and having to move and transition, and it's a lot tougher than people think it is.
You know, you have 2 beautiful children, and by the way, you guys, Tony named his son London, and London named his son Anthony, so they kind of switched with the names. And you have a 14-year-old son, London, and a 13-year-old daughter, Tasia. Tell us about them.
I mean, they're 2 dynamic children. You know, Tasia is natural, London is adopted, so, you know, they come from 2 dynamic lifestyles. And it's interesting as, you know, adopting London and him coming from a family that was had drug issues as well, from the mom's mother, which is a grandmother, and things like that. But, you know, you never really know the value of life until you experience parenthood.
Right.
You see your children pick up some of your traits. You see your children have a chance to growth, and it's just hard to believe that, you know, I have 2 teenagers now, as opposed to, I can remember the day when they were little and walking around. But, you know, the thing that you look is they become your motivation. You know, your motivation is, I want to be the best example for my children. And we all know is anytime, you know, you come from a broken home and, you know, parents are divorced and you got lifestyle change, you got parental changes, the best thing you can do is be the best you. And I've learned to do the best I can to be the best me. Am I perfect? No, but I know we live in a perfect world, and I look to strive to be a better father, a better person. And seeing these kids progress who they are, it lets me know that the foundation started within, from when you guys raised us and how we're going today.
Right. Well, they are special. I just wish I lived closer to them. They're in Utah and we're in California, but Tasia's going to be tall like you. This girl is so tall, you guys. She plays volleyball. London likes football and basketball. So they are really growing up. No more babies.
Yes, they become adults fast.
Very fast.
A year or 2 years goes by very fast. Well, listen, we want you to stand by. We'll be right back.
When I first got to DAP, I was initially a little resistant to the time that it would take, 12 to 18 months. That scared me, because I just kind of wanted to get better and move on with my life. All the programs I'd been to were, you know, from a week to 60 days or 90 days, but 12 months to 18 months was just outrageously long, and that scared me. But when I got here, my impression was, you know, I wouldn't have come unless I finally decided that it didn't matter anymore. The time was of no consequence to me. I screwed everything up so bad. I just wanted above anything else to get better.
The longevity of a program, you know, I see it as you have to get serious with yourself, and that's what I'm doing. I have decided to make that difference in my life. That means no matter how long it takes, even if it's more than 18 months, then that's what I'm gonna do, because it has brought structure in my life to do the things that I need to do to make sure, you know, when I get back out there, you know, I always want DAP in my life too, no matter where I go, because I like the fact that the way they help us, it's pure love.
It did shock me, the long amount of time that it was going to take, but I see it as a positive, because they're not trying to just change you for a short amount of time. They're trying to change you inward, spiritually, get you connected with God, and to get you to really know who you really are. I didn't know who I was. I didn't love myself.
If you're considering to be a donor, I would plead with you. I would encourage it. I would ask you to consider what a difference it would make to people who want to change, who have the desire to change, but for some reason, because of the effects of drug and alcohol and their addiction to it, are in an impasse. It's like there's a block there somehow. They want to get better, but they can't. What you do helps them get past that. And once they get past that and cross that bridge and finally become changed people, is a reward that has a value beyond measure.
Welcome back.
I want to tell you, here is the telephone. Give us a call. We'd like to hear from you. Now, actually, Freddie, this phone really does work.
It does work.
It does work. And you know, I want to say this. My cousin, Bobby Palmer, he laughs when he sees our program and he talks about that telephone to me. So give us a call. We want to hear from you.
I'm sure you know someone that needs help. You might know a person that's addicted to drugs that needs help. So be sure, give us a call. Okay, Tony, we were talking before we left, but we want you to talk about an NBA player. Once he leaves the league and starts a normal life, how does that go?
Well, you know, one thing that is the big difference when you play and when you're not playing is while you're playing, you're so caught up in playing. Mm-hmm. You know, you're trying to remain in shape, you're trying to still be a father, trying to be a husband, boyfriend, whatever that is, and you get so caught up that you kind of lose grasp of what life is really about. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of athletes have a tough time transitioning to life after basketball, football, baseball, because now they have to wake up and do something different. Maybe have to get a job. If they're financially in a better situation, then they can build business. But you find that a lot of them struggle because of the fact that it's brand new. Now it's almost like your first year playing a sport. Now you're like a rookie in life. Now you're waking up saying, okay, well, do I go to work? Do I take care of my businesses? Now I can be a father. And a lot of times you see they end up gaining more weight or not being as healthy or having health issues or having legal issues because, you know, a lot of them just don't have guidance. And one thing that I've noticed myself and even trying to keep in contact with, you know, some of the players I play with and play against, a lot of them go missing in action. You know, a lot of them are trying to figure out, you know, what they want to do. I have a former teammate that he was driving drunk and, you know, got convicted of manslaughter, and now he's doing 3 years in prison. I have another friend, I was just telling your mom the other day, 49 years old, had 4 heart attacks in a week, and so he's fighting for his life. And, you know, you just never know what God's plan is, what his message is, and that's why I always encourage people is, you know, to me, life is about mindset, and we all have choices, and unhappiness is a choice.
And Tony, I really admire you, you know, as far as your health. You still go to the gym every day. You eat a healthy diet. You know, you're really zeroed in on feeling good, looking good, and being an example of what, you know, manhood is really about. You know, like you say, your friend gained, I think you say he weighs over 300 pounds.
350.
This guy was playing basketball, you know. So it's so important when I see you keep your lifestyle up as far as physical, mental, and spiritual.
Because I look at, the thing is, you know, you look at different things. The TV can be addictive. You know, certain things could be, you have an addiction. And sometimes, you know.
Speaking of addiction, excuse me, my son was addicted to the iPhone. I never saw him without that iPhone in his hand. And you came recently, and I said, Tony, what happened? He left the iPhone in the car. So that's one addiction you had, and you are doing so much better. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned that, you know, over the course of life is to expose myself to different things. Now I'm becoming more of an avid reader, and I can easily testify that when you read and you get that spiritual foundation, it really clears your mind. It really gives you that independency from codependency. You know, you realize that, you know what, God, I just need to let go and let you handle this. Because, you know, when you're so caught up in the world, especially as an athlete, it's funny that, you know, you get on your knees in prayer when things are bad, but, you know, but when they're good, how faithful are you to the ministry? And so I've learned myself as I'm reading a book right now from a guy named Charles Stanley called The Man of God, and just the first 2 chapters have really opened my eyes of things that I looked at things differently. When I look at, you know, athletes, and I look at so many young athletes today, today's athlete has entourages. You know, you got the AAU coach, you got the brother, you got the mom, you got everybody telling each player and each athlete what to do. And in reality, when I was coming up, it was pretty much me having myself and trying to figure everything out. And one thing that I've learned is, like, you know, consistency is a big thing that I've learned that is very important.
You know, we just had a party for your dad, and Tony has a special talent, you guys. He can write poems.
Yes.
So for the party, he made a nice picture frame of us, and he also wrote this poem, and I want to read this poem to you, and it's on the president.
Is that me?
That's you.
That's me. The Presidente.
El Presidente of Drug Alternative Program.
Okay.
It says, the president is a man that loves to take charge. He loves and cares as well as use his credit card. The president is a man that has tough love as he's given his guidance from the good Lord above. The president is one that has been through many fires, but makes his decisions as his burning heart desires. The president is often a husband, father, and brother, with family values that compare to no other. The president is a man that everyone has grown to know. He makes decisions and runs the show. Mr. President, I want to say happy birthday to you for being an example to his family and DAP too. Enjoy this day because it is all you. I love you so much and I am thankful for you too.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
You're
welcome. You're
That is
welcome.
nice. And I like this picture that it's on.
Yeah.
Did you get that on there, Rodney? Yeah.
That's one of my
That's a
favorite
nice
pictures.
picture.
Yes, and Tony, you have such a talent for writing. I mean, he can write a poem like this in 5-10 minutes, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And every event, I've asked him to write a poem, and he's always given us a nice poem. So thank you for
You're welcome.
your dad.
You know, I want to ask you, tell us what you're doing today. What's happening with you today?
Well, now I'm involved with a few different things. I'm excited just because I have a really good friend that approached me about joining him in some business things, and we have a product called the U-Box. And the U-Box is basically we help people eliminate cable bills. So as Dad loves movies, we have all these movies. It has live TV, has every cartoon, every movie ever made. I mean, so many stations. And last night I watched one of the movies that was actually inside the theater. So I'm involved with him with that right now, and I mean, we're definitely helping a lot of people save money in their cable. You know, the unit costs $3.99 and you never have a bill, but the company ordered 1,000 of them that came in Monday and they're already sold. So
Wow.
that's going good. And then also too, I'm doing social media and health and wellness, and you know, working on my own reality TV show that's going to be coming out soon. So I stay busy. I've just learned, you know, through my own trials and tribulations, you can never have all your eggs in one basket, because at the end of the
I
day,
learned that years ago.
yes, I've learned kind of the hard way. So I have myself busy. I like keeping busy and just really focus on being the best person I can daily.
You know, you've been around DAP a long time. You've seen a lot of guys and come in and go
Wait
out.
a minute, Fred, before you go there. He comes and he plays dominoes
With the guys.
I'm telling you, he loves to play dominoes.
One of my favorite things to do with those guys.
And he loves to beat them. Oh, it's so fun.
And also Boggle. You know, I'm the Boggle pro at
Yes.
DAP until Tony comes and he just beats me down, you know. So games, he's very good at that. But what are some of the experiences you've seen here with us here at DAP with these guys?
I mean, one thing that I've seen, that the main thing I tell people all the time is that you guys are very consistent, you know, and very patient. And I was telling one of my friends the other day that you and Dad are like good cop, bad cop. You know what I mean? Because Dad is that person that sits down. He's heard every story. He's heard every excuse. And you give him that motherly love, and he gives him that tough love. But you know, one thing that I really respect more than anything, you guys, is that you guys allow people second chances. You know, I've seen Pierre, I've seen Rob, I've seen these guys come through the program a couple of times, and you know, it's not always their fault for their circumstances, because they come, you know, guys like that, they come through, and sometimes it takes them a minute to get it together, but when they get it together, then they have a chance. You know, you guys know one of my favorite guys is Tracy. I mean,
Right.
he's been here for 14 years. I've watched him come in. I mean, when he first came in, he had every excuse in America, and now you see him in a healthy relationship. So those kind of stories are things that really excite me, and the fact that I've seen you guys be consistent, but you know, I also realize that you guys have a method to the madness. You know, you see some people go to halfway houses. You see people go to, you know, where they can go to work and come back. But some of those people that are running those places, they treat them like a job. You guys treat it as a lifestyle, and it's a big difference when you live and breathe.
We're part of
DAP.
a family here.
Exactly.
And you know, I want to tell you about Tracy. Tracy still works here for us. You know, this is his job. And guess what? He's into a relationship. Nice Christian girl, and I can tell you, she loves him, and you can tell a difference in him right now.
He's got a pep in his step.
Got a pep in his step, and he's just
He
joyous.
feels important. He
Right.
feels important now.
And he's lost about 50 pounds,
Right.
you know, just looking really good.
And I'm jealous of him too. You know, he's losing weight, and here I just cannot get down. But I've lost 36.
Amen.
That's great. That's a
Amen.
start.
Yep. So I'm getting there. I'm coming too.
Yeah. If you would like to be looking at camera over there to Tony, and to just give some advice to young men who are coming through the program or who are thinking about coming into NBA, what advice would you give to them?
The advice I can give to any young man that's starting the game of life is to be the best you. Be the best you that you can. And when you know that you need help, get help. Seek help. Get into a program where your lifestyle can have a chance to improve. Don't make excuses of why you can't do this, what about that, because you still put yourself in the same position. And one thing I can always tell you, if you leave it all on the altar will bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I'm gonna just do this one more time about the telephone. We would love to hear from you about the telephone. You'll see the number right here on your screen. So give us a call if you need help, or you know someone or a family member that needs our help. Give us a call. We would love to hear from you. Freddie, last thing that you would like to tell somebody out there in the audience today?
Well, I want to talk to my son.
Well,
you know,
here's your chance. You talk.
You know, Tony has been a role model, you know, for our family. And I just want to let you know how much I love you and I appreciate you for being my son. You know, you've gone through a lot. You know, you've gone through a divorce. You've gone through a lot of changes. But, you know, just in the past few years, I've seen you just to step up to the plate, you know, increase your spirituality, relationship with Christ. And, you know, you guys, we talk on the phone. You know, I would give him devotionals. We talked about the story of David and different things in the Bible and just encourage him. And you've always been my spiritual partner because you've been the closest here in California to me. And I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you as my tall giant.
Thank you. And I want to tell you and Dad, I'm glad to be your son, but to tell you guys that I appreciate and love and how you guys have always shown me the tough love and the unconditional love. And, you know, words can't explain for that. And it really makes me happy to see that these men and have a chance to transition. And I'll be glad when you guys will have a chance to go into the pasture and retire in Alabama and be able to do that one day.
Praise the Lord.
We're working on that.
Yes,
We're
yes.
working on that.
But we say we're not going to retire. We will do this until we...
Some phase of it
Right.
until Jesus comes.
Right.
We want someone to take over the day-to-day activities,
Right.
but we'll be doing speaking engagement, fundraising, or whatever. Thank you, son, for being with us today. And we want to thank you for being here, too. And if you want to reach us, you can find us on the internet. You might have a loved one that needs help. You might need help, so we're always here for you.
And remember, we love you,
And Jesus loves you even more.
and we will see you next time.